Hello, my name is Harpreet. I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. In today's video, I will be talking about Canada study visa refusal reasons and to solutions to those one. This video is for those students who are intending to come to Canada for the very first time or their study visa got refused. Let's first understand what the first thing you should do whenever your study visa got refused. The very first step is always to apply for the ATIP, which comes under the Access to Information Act. Uh, this is the right of the applicant to know the reasons of the refusal. It is also extremely important to know that what went in your application so that you don't do the same mistake in your next application. The cost is barely $5 and you can get the result in between 3 to 4 weeks. Also, it is important to note down here that the onus has always remain on the applicant to prove that they are a bona fide temporary residents who will leave following the completion of their studies in the Canada. This has been covered in the section R2116 of the Immigration Refugee Protection Regulation, which basically says this that the applicant apply the study visa in accordance with this part and will leave Canada by the end of period authorized for the stay under Division 2 of Part 9. Nearly all refusals come from this section of the regulations. However, I will also like to highlight some another equally important factors. First, let's start with the first refusal reason, which is basically based on the purpose of the visit. I have seen the main issue with the purpose of the visit is linked to the statement of purpose. Uh, the applicant is not honest about the reasons for coming to Canada, and officer believes purpose of study is not genuine. How you can overcome from this refusal reason by providing that or linking this education factors, that by saying that how this education will help you in getting employment in the home country, how this education will increase your employability in the home country or success in the home country, or overall how this education in Canada will benefit you. So by addressing a logical connection between your prior education in the program whichever you are intending to do in Canada will give a will give you enough reasons or strong reasons for the officer to grant you a study visa. So statement of purpose is very important, and also it's equally important to provide a logical connection. So let's move to the second number of refusal, which is basically linked with the personal assets and financial status. The applicant should show enough documentation to prove the source of the funds with better explanation about the source of fund. Uh, Although I have seen in many applications that the proof of funds exist in the in the submission or in the all application, but the source of fund is missing. And by providing the source of funds, you can make your application looks very strong. If the applicant did not submit enough documentation or did not submit enough information explaining where the finances have come from, the application is almost certainly going to be refused. As Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship Canada wants to make sure that the students have enough money to come to Canada to study without working, even if they have ability to work while they are here. Now let's move to the third number of refusal, which is basically linked with the proposed studies are not reasonable in light of the qualification. I have found out that two main issues that on which I can say that the first one is the average or below average marks and the gap in the studies. If your marks at your previous school or education program were below average, they can be used as a ground for refusal of your study permit application, even if you ultimately passed the program and achieved the educational credential you were striving for. Or if it's been a long time in your previous study, you can explain what were you doing for these 5 or 2 or 10 years. So in a nutshell, I would say by providing a better explanation about your gap, or highlighting your education credential, or highlighting your educational credential, you can overcome from this refusal reasons. Let's move to the fourth number of refusal reason, which is basically linked with, which is basically says that the purpose of visit is not consistent with the temporary stay given the details you provided in your application. As I mentioned in the purpose of study, that was pretty much linked with the statement of purpose. This is almost identical to that one. You should always mention a logical and detailed study plan with clear future plans. The, also, I would like to mention here uh, that a reasonable explanation is very important to overcome from this refusal region. In some cases, I have noticed that where the selected program does not align with the applicant's academic or employment background, the chances of visa rejection got increased. So applicant can address this by including a detailed personal statement for the choice of the program. Let's move to the next number of refusal reason, which is basically submitting two application at the same time. So either one could be the permanent resident application and another one could be the temporary resident application. As we all know, the officer can see your current or previous submitted application to come to Canada. If you have a permanent intent to reside in Canada that overrides your temporary intent, your study permit can be refused. It is possible to have a dual intent, meaning you want to study and one day become PR, but your temporary intent and your willingness to return to your home country must be evident. Also, it is pointless to try to hide past peer application. As with data analytics, officers can see the previous case history. Instead of this one, you should acknowledge your prior peer application and demonstrate the enough supporting factors that show your temporary intent now. Also, it is advisable to delay your peer application if you are thinking to come to Canada temporarily. Let's move to the sixth number of refusal reason, which is basically financial insufficiency. Um, a proof of adequate funds for the first year of the program is the minimum requirement for studying in Canada. However, the Canada student visa application may be rejected if the immigration officer suspects financial insufficiency. You can support this by providing a supplementary documentation confirming the finances, or the way which I have mentioned earlier, by providing the enough documentation of the source of funds. For example, if parents are employed, you can add their job letter or salary slips, or if they are doing any kind of business or self-employed, you can add their business documents so that you can prove that where the funds are coming from. Let's move to the seven number of reviews or reason, which is the intention of going back to the home country. As we all know that a study permit is a temporary visa. It has a validity period. The applicants are required to submit enough proof of intent to return to their home country. A Canadian study visa is a temporary permit. If the officer feels that a student is a potential immigrant, then a student visa can be rejected. You have obligation under the legislation to prove you have a temporary intent. Candidates who do not have a clear professional path may be presumed to intend to stay permanently. Let's move to the last but not the least number of refusal reason. So which is basically linked with the letter of acceptance and English language proficiency. As we all know, requirement of providing a letter of acceptance from a designated learning institution is very important, as this is the part of the requirement of the study visa. Also providing the English language scores in terms of providing IELTS score is also important. Uh, at the end, I would like to say, if you find my video was informative, you can please like it and subscribe to my channel. If you need to book any consultation regarding your study visa application, you can book through the link will be in the description. Thank you so much.